If you have social anxiety, you know just how intimidating social situations can be. There are the big things like making a presentation, giving a speech, making friends at a new school or a new job, attending parties or large gatherings, networking. But then there are those small ones that I guess more extreme socially anxious people will find very intimidating. Like going anywhere alone, making a phone call, asking clarifying questions to a professor or a colleague. The little things. But if the small and mundane things give us so much anxiety, how can we ever be confident in those larger events? In today's video, I want to talk about how we can be confident in social situations when you do have social anxiety. Before we get into the video, I just want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Bridget. On this channel, you'll find me talk a lot about social anxiety, a lot about introverts, general anxiety, and other mental health related things. So if you do find those things interesting, make sure to go check out some of my other videos. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful or useful. Comment below what you'd like to see more from me, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. So let's get into the video. When my social anxiety was at its peak, I couldn't go anywhere alone. I would stay home as often and whenever I could. I built up so much anxiety when I knew I had to meet people or go to basically any kind of social gathering. I would get anxious making phone calls for doctor appointments or even calling my grandmother. I couldn't eat in public by myself. I couldn't do anything alone. And I was anxious. At some points in my life, I was anxious all the time because I was surrounded by new people and new things and new environments. When I really knew that this had to change was when I found myself in this weird place where I was so anxious about going to new places and meeting new people, and yet at the same time I would get FOMO about not going to this place or being with new people and making new friends. And it was just this feeling of I want to do this so bad, but I can't because of this stupid anxiety. It was also at a point where I spent way more time worrying about things than actually doing anything. And finally, it was really when I accepted the fate that I was going to fail and I was going to mess up. So here's what I learned from that process. Number one, it was, of course, that I had to learn to be okay with failing. I had to learn to be okay with looking like a fool, like a loser. I had to be okay with messing up, doing things again and again and again. Now, if you're someone with social anxiety, you know that one of our biggest fears is the fear of judgment. And with failing comes judgment. And so doing nothing is so much easier because when we do nothing, we don't have the opportunity to fail. At least that's what I thought. But failing is not doing something and messing up or doing something and not getting it right. Failing is doing nothing at all. And so by doing nothing and staying in my comfort zone, I was failing and I didn't even know it. In order to be willing to give something a try, you have to be honest with yourself about the expectations you're setting. I had to learn to be okay with failure. Simple. And I know that it's actually not that simple, and I know this is one of the hardest things, and I said it as the first one, but it was honestly one of the most important things I had to learn in order to start the journey of everything I started to do after. So the second thing was that I had to take it like baby steps. I had to do something every single day in order to be better than I was the day before. So I started setting small challenges to be done every single day, making the larger challenges a little bit easier. And if I did those small things enough, then I could start doing the big ones. And if I did those enough, I would be okay. I would still hold that anxiety, but I would be able to just live my life how I want to live my life. And so some of these challenges that I started doing were as simple as talking to someone random in public, talking to the cashier at the grocery store, talking to my hairstylist, because I never used to do that. I would sit in silence in the chair and just not speak at all. And so striking up a conversation with them, calling my doctor to make that freaking appointment that I've been wanting to make for the past 6 months. It was these small challenges that I was doing every single day, little by little, that were making me a little bit more comfortable. Right? I was still scared, but I was challenging myself to be better than I was yesterday. Another thing I learned was to expect the unexpected. By doing these challenges, I was finding that some of them weren't so bad. Sometimes when I built up so much anxiety going into something about speaking up, asking the right questions, or just a question, sometimes it led to something really great. I found that like 80 to 90% of the time, I actually had fun with it, which was like crazy because I thought it was just going to be this, I don't even know, like this really scary experience. And it wasn't. But 100% of the time, I was proud of myself that I did it. There's this sense of adrenaline that you get when you do it. If you're someone who has social anxiety and you perform this task, you perform something that scares the shit out of you, you're gonna get an adrenaline rush. It's like going skydiving or cliff jumping or whatever scares you. Another thing I did was finding a socially confident role model. And I found several, actually. I guess it started out as just a coincidence. When I was really socially anxious, some of my first few friends were people that were extremely outgoing. And I don't know why I was so drawn to these types of people. I think it was like deep down, I really wanted that. I wanted that for myself, and I knew I would never get there. So if I surrounded myself with these types of people, that would be like the closest thing. And so I started doing this more and more as I, got into new environments. And then I started doing it intentionally. And the reason that it was so helpful, it was because I'm surrounded by these people all the time. I'm getting inside their heads. I'm trying to figure out how they think about social situations in general. What gives them anxiety, what doesn't? And just by the way that they approach new people or approach events, kind of getting inspired by their mannerisms and what they say. And it was really helpful for me in the beginning when I did have a lot of that anxiety, because it made approaching new people that much easier. Sometimes I was with them, but sometimes I would kind of emulate their behavior. And that brings me to the last thing, which is probably the thing that helped me the most. And I haven't really seen people speak on this. Every day we play a role, and approaching any kind of social situation can be just like that. So we play roles in our everyday lives. When we cook a meal at home, we're a chef. When we play a round of tennis with our friend, we're an athlete. When we try to fix the washing machine because it's broken, we're an engineer, right? We're a mechanic. Every day we take on different roles. We have different personalities with different people. And so when I was doing these little challenges, I would just pretend it was another role. And usually when I was doing these, it was with people who I was probably never going to see again. So it didn't really matter. I could be anyone that I wanted to be. I could sound however I wanted to sound. I could say whatever I wanted to say. And it was fun. It made doing these challenges a little bit more exciting, a little bit less intimidating. And simultaneously, it kind of rewired my thinking into, instead of that, oh no, this is going to be awful, this is going to be scary, I'm going to sound like an idiot, into this can be fun. What am I going to say? How am I going to approach the situation? What am I going to sound like? What are my mannerisms going to be? And all of that. And so if you set that expectation, if you set it like you're just completing a task, it makes it a little bit easier, honestly. And if you're someone with social anxiety, at least this is how it was for me, I was really good at things, no matter what it was. If I had a task at hand, if I had something to do, I was going to do it. So when I set that intention, when I said, I'm going to do this, I could complete the task, no matter what anxiety I was feeling at the time. So those 5 tips are 100% the biggest things that helped me. There were a bunch of other things that I was also doing at the time, but in order to make this video condensed and like straight to the point, I just wanted to mention these 5 things. I can do more videos on this topic, but if you are someone who is socially anxious and you don't know where to start and you're not sure if you'll ever get better, I hope you find this video. I hope you learn something from this. I hope it ignites something in you that wants to make a change. Because if I hadn't, I honestly don't know where I would be. I wouldn't be making this video, that's for sure. When you envision a life that's so much better than the one you're currently living, and you make some changes to start getting towards that, and you see results, it's like you're on top of this world. So do it. If you're thinking about it, do it. That is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys found it useful as always, and I will see you next time.